Are we ready? Okay, all right. Thank you.
It's 6:01, calling the September 5th regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission to order.
There we go. Would the secretary call roll for determination of a quorum?
Commissioner Henneman?
Present. Here.
Commissioner Wood?
Here.
Commissioner Gilliland is absent. Vice Chair Parker?
Here.
And Chair Colopy is absent. Let the record reflect all commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Gilliland and Chair Colopy with excused absences.
Okay. So if you'll all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll ask Commissioner Wood to lead us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this point, we want to move on to the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, are there any changes to the agenda? No. Okay. If none, then may I call for a motion and a second, please, to approve the agenda?
I motion that we approve the agenda.
I second.
Oh, we're back to the tablet.
I second.
What are we tapping here?
Oh, would we do it here? Huh? That's right. I'm sorry. Second motion.
So give me just one moment.
So where are we at here?
And then for the record, I made the motion on that, so, not Paul.
And then you'll start the vote.
Okay.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay. We'll move on to the administrative update. Parks and Community Services Manager Administrative Update is an opportunity for Parks and Community Services, Leah, to provide community updates as well as the department or commission announcements.
Good evening, commissioners. Hope you're all doing well.
Good evening.
This evening we have 3 updates for you. First up will be a collective update regarding the youth center, the aquatics, and our youth advisory committee member from Nick. So I'm going to turn it over to Victor, Lizette, and Nick, and they'll work out who goes first.
All right, good evening, commissioners. I'm pleased to provide an update on our summer youth and aquatics programs. Let's start with the youth center. For the 24-25 school year, we set the registration fee at $31.29 according to the new fee schedule, and expanded hours to include early morning programming from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday at no extra cost. We're averaging 104 daily check-ins, and enrollment just continues to grow. We provided some analytics so you can see the comparison, and we are currently at 202 members, but with our annual increase of around 31.6%, we are actually expected to reach 352 members by the end of this year. So that's exciting. The youth center is also thriving, hosting 9 successful clubs, including Lego, book club, creative writing, sports, food critics, STEM, and yearbook, providing our youth with valuable opportunities to learn and connect. All of this led by and imagined by our amazing CSD staff. All right, let's move on to summer camps. Our summer camps were a complete success this year. For the first time, we offered 9 weeks of extended day camps at the youth center, running from June to August. The camps operated from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. serving 4 different age groups ranging from 5 to 12 years old. Registration fees were set at $160 per child per week. We also offered multi-sibling discounts at $15 per child. These camps were packed with engaging activities and, for the first time ever, the introduction of walking excursions to the local attractions like Mulligan, Bolero, the movies, and Mind Trap Escape Room. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, and the success of these camps reflect the hard work and dedication of our staff. We provided some analytics as well, and as you can see, across all ages, we had 443 registered and brought in about $55,000 after expenses. So, very successful. Now let's move on to the pool. After the Cal Oaks Sports Park pool closure, we ensured that our summer aquatics program continued uninterrupted. Through a partnership with Murrieta Valley Unified School District, we hosted programming at Vista Murrieta High School. We offered swim lessons for all ages, public swim, water exercise, and lap swim from June to September. Admission rates ranged from $1 to $5 for daily entry. Punch passes were available at $20 for residents and $40 for non-residents. Programs are limited after August 10th, and that has been due to pool availability because everyone is going back to school. We are proud to say that this transition has been a resounding success. Our partnership with the school district is flourishing, and we are grateful for the relationship and our collaboration with Swan Aquatics because they are providing our lifeguard vendor, or being our lifeguard vendor. And the transition has been smooth and effective. Let's move on. We also provided some analytics for the pool. As you can see, during the regular season, we were able to operate Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And overall, we went from 4,047 to 1,843 at Vista this year. All right, let's move on. Where are we doing?
Could I ask
And
a
now I will-
question about that?
Yeah, go ahead.
So it dropped in half. Something was expected.
Right, and just to give you context, when we had Cal Oaks operating, we would operate sometimes 6 days, 7 days out of the week, and that would be from early morning, 6 a.m. all the way to sometimes 8 a.m., 9 p.m. Now, we don't have that luxury here at Vista. We were minimized to 4 days at anywhere between 7.5 hours to 8 hours as a business operating for all recreation. So as you can tell, we have to either shorten our recreation programs and get creative of how we could multitask at the same time. That definitely is going to take a hit. And our weekends also were a little bit shortened for that, so we couldn't fully realize our recreation programs. So that's why you'll see a hit. However, if I do go back to the analytics here, you'll see that comparing the swimming registration from 22 to 24, it doubled. So we were able to offer, because we moved things around, we were able to offer more swimming lesson classes than recreation classes. So it's kind of give and go. But at this point, I mean, we'll take what we have and we'll do what we can.
So you feel that this met or exceeded your expectations for this change?
I would say with all the restrictions and kind of the hurdles that we had to overcome to just bring the program up to this summer, I do think that it's a resounding success, because it could have definitely been a lot more negative than what it was. So yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I just add on there, public comments you heard on the programs, pro and con?
Well, one of the cons is that the high school pools are not recreation friendly, right? So that was one hurdle that we had to kind of navigate around. How can we provide recreation classes in a pool that's meant for competition? In comparison to where Cal Oaks is a recreation class, whereas the deepest end is 5 feet to 4 feet to 3 feet, you can really expand your program however you want. But when you have a pool that only has a 3.5 foot shallow end and it goes straight into a 7 deep end pool, you're kind of cuffed in how you could run your programs. So just for context, sometimes we'll have public swim going at the same time as lap swim. So it's just to provide, a variety of programs for residents, so.
And I also think that having to share the pool for the first time ever and having to go over that hurdle and making sure that we are being respectful of the time that the coaches and their aquatic program, the school district's aquatic program is going on, was also really, really tough, but it was manageable.
That's just some of the feedback. I would say also the continuity of it's Monday, Wednesday is not a straight week. Sometimes we'll throw off residents. So that's something that we're definitely documenting to try to have more of a continuous or a concise schedule for next year.
I know you want to get on with this, but when we look at the cost of the lifeguards and all of that in relation to the fees, is it just something you don't pay attention to because we're really trying to we have a bigger picture here, or?
Well, man, I mean, that's like a loaded question, but
Yeah.
So prior to contracting with Swan Aquatics, who provided lifeguards this year, and Premier last year.
Premier was 22, yes.
22. I think it's almost a break even because prior to that, we had in-house lifeguards. So you have hourly wages plus whatever benefits amount to a fully loaded rate. So I think they're comparable in cost in terms of in-house lifeguards versus contracted lifeguard services. So I think that breaks even.
I would say also just the maintenance costs behind it also is something
that
Yes.
part of it, yeah.
take into consideration where we were taking a lot of the brunt force of that budget, and now it's kind of more evened out through. We don't have to worry about that because it's a rented facility. It's just built into the cost of renting the.
As with any program, we're not out to necessarily to make money. We would love to be able to recoup our costs. We're trying to provide the best community services to the public that we can within the restrictions that we find ourselves at any given time. So I think the partnership with Murrieta Valley Unified School District was a phenomenal success. They were beyond wonderful to work with, very accommodating, and I'm hopeful that next season, because I doubt our Kellogg's Sports Park pool will be operational then, next summer, that we'll be able to enter into another agreement with them for another high school pool.
Okay, well, great, thanks.
And I would like to add that I also believe because we were able to move away from using in-house lifeguards, we were actually able to expand our camp this summer. So we were able to bring on a whole new program, a brand new concept that obviously was extremely needed in our community. So.
Just if I can add on, and we don't need to go into this in great detail, but now that the Cal Oaks pool is closed, what are the discussions for the pool or that piece of property going forward, if any?
It's a good question. I don't know fully the answer on that. At the moment, the project's still on hold. We're still looking for the funding sources that we need to make that design come alive. And that's where we're at right now. I think we're just still status quo on getting the funding.
All right, we will go ahead and hand it over to Nick so he can give our Youth Advisory Committee update.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Nick Trin, and I will be giving you our Youth Advisory Committee updates tonight. Last year, I was appointed the 2024-2025 YAC President, and Evan Martinez was appointed our Vice President. Last school year, I played an active role at the Murrieta Youth Center as a junior staff and committee member during the summer. Evan also played a very active role as a head volunteer for the Murrieta summer camps. We will both be a part of the interview panel for our 2024-2025 applicants on September 9th and 10th, alongside 2 city staff. We will be conducting 11 interviews and are hoping to recruit 6 members and 2 officers, a secretary and treasurer. Decisions will be sent out on September 11th, and our first meeting will be on October 7th, where we will be discussing the calendar events, signing our committee agreement, discussing our goals and mission for the year. We are hoping that this will be an amazing year where we get to see our Youth Advisory Committee making a positive impact in our community while working alongside our Community Services Department. That concludes my Youth Advisory Committee updates. Thank you.
All right, if you guys have any questions?
The youth center opening at 7 in the morning to 9. So how big is the crowd then, and what do you do in that time period? And where are they coming from? I mean,
So as you kind of guess, the majority of our kids who do attend the youth center are Chavela Middle School kids. So that is our pool that we pull for the youth center. And the idea for the early opening hours is that we have noticed a trend where a lot of the kids are in the park, they're at Target, they're at Starbucks, and what we want to offer is the same concept as the after-school program, but in the morning. So we'll open it up. We have all our amenities available for our kids to use in that short span, whether it's they forgot to do their homework, so they go use their computer, or they just need a safe place to be at. You know, they're still thinking about that video game they were playing last night. They could play it there for a little bit before school. So it's really just an open space for them to use before school. So we have kind of just want to open it up and not just have them at the park or at the skate park or just in an area where maybe they won't do something good. But at least, you know, the facility opens itself for that, to expand and you know, think outside the box and provide those programs in the morning also. So.
how many kids right now? I know school seat.
Yeah, so right now it's kind of like a light open, but we are seeing anything between 7 to 15 kids showing up consistently in the morning. And once we do start advertising and sending it out, because there's no cost to it, it's part of the membership. Once we advertise it, I do foresee it being, you know, a larger number, anything between 40 to 60 kids. I do see that happening.
I live there. I mean, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm seeing a fair number of kids being dropped off that early at school,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of heartbreaking in a certain way. And is there anything that you can do to outreach to those kids specifically, like put a flyer in their hand or?
And that's the idea. The idea is to kind of have a little social media campaign where we do put that out. We've been using our resources with Peace Jar. Peace Jar is like a school-based like networking platform that we'll be using to target specifically the middle schools to advertise that the youth center is having these early morning, you know, openings, and even just doing old school, putting flyers up at the park and things like that. So we're definitely trying to use this.
That's super for Chavela.
Yeah, and it's a good resource. And sometimes the parents don't know that we have this, and that's the idea, is just to give them that extra resource.
I've got to believe that most parents, if they knew about it, would rather do
100%.
that than dropping their kid off at 7 o'clock, which
Yes,
is now what, 2 hours before school starts?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, commissioners?
All right,
No,
thank you
just
so much.
Thank you for the update.
Yeah, thank you.
At this time, any person may address the governing bodies on any subject pertaining to city business, which,
One more update.
oh, sorry.
No,
Okay.
that's all right. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys good?
Yeah. Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Have a good night, okay? Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
And I believe Nick needs to go because he's got homework tonight.
Guys, homework.
Thank you, Nick.
We're also going to say his dog ate it.
See, Leah, somebody has homework.
Thank you. All right, good evening, commissioners. For the record and our internet audience, my name is Leah Kolick. I am the Parks and Community Services Manager for Murrieta. Tonight, I want to give you a very brief update on the update to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, as well as a brand new document, the Trails Master Plan. So just right off the bat, today, staff met with our consultant, RJM, and we reviewed the drafts of both documents. We are currently in a pre-draft review with the core master plan team. RJM, we will, staff, let me go back. Staff will be providing RJM with comments on the pre-draft documents by Monday. They will take those comments and they will update both of the documents, and hopefully by the end of this month, we will have a kind of a final pre-draft document to give to the city manager's office, as well as select members of the executive team for review. Once we receive those comments back, and then that's updated, copies will be disseminated to the commissioners on both the Planning Commission and the Parks and Recreation Commission. We would like to provide you advance copies, giving you a little bit more time to review those than the normal sending out of the agenda packet. And we're hoping to do that late October or early November. So this would either be a special meeting, or it would be tied to either one of the days the Planning Commission meets, or possibly one of the days that the Parks and Recreation Commission meets. I don't know that yet, but we will make sure to provide you that information as soon as we do know. So those dates are to be determined, but we will provide you with as much advance notice in reviewing those documents as possible. So at that joint meeting with Planning Commission and the Parks and Recreation Commission, the Planning Commission will need to find that the document conforms with the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA, as well as the general plan. And then the Parks and Recreation Commission will need to approve the documents and send it on its way for review and discussion with City Council. So those are the objectives for that joint meeting. Once it goes on to Council, we're hoping that the documents will be reviewed in December. I'm not quite sure if it'll be the first or second meeting, but hopefully in December we'll be able to have a discussion with Council. And again, we will provide that information to the Commission should you wish to attend and speak under public comments for that. And then I just wanted to comment that the documents themselves are on schedule and on budget. The draft compilation takes about a year. So and we've hit that mark. We're at about a year right now. And the reviews of the drafts, now that we have 2 of them, will take about 3 to 4 months to complete. So we're on schedule, on budget, and I will be providing you with the dates for the joint meeting with Planning Commission, as well as the date that the documents will be reviewed by the City Council. And that is my very brief update for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan and the Trails Master Plan. I am available if you have any questions.
Any questions, Commissioners? Okay. Thank you, Leah. Let's move on to public comments. At this time, any person may address the governing bodies on any subject pertaining to city business which does not relate to any item listed on the printed agenda. Normally, no action may be considered or taken by the governing bodies on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes. Madam Secretary, do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Thank you, Vice Chair. There are no public comments.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We'll move on to the consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine by the governing bodies and will be enacted by one motion in the form listed. There will be no discussion of these items unless, before the governing body votes on the motion to adopt, specific items are removed from the consent calendar for separate motions. Item 1, minutes. Recommended action, approve the June 11th, 2024 special meeting minutes. So we're going to vote on each of these?
You can vote as a whole for the
Okay.
consent item.
Okay. Item 2, Recreation Activities and Events Report. The recommended action is to receive and file. And item 3, Park Projects and Maintenance Report. Recommended action is to receive and file. May I call for a motion and a second to adopt the consent calendar?
I had one just question on item 3, Parks, Projects, and Maintenance Report. If I could, we just pull that for a sec. I've seen that the police department is doing a great job of dealing with e-bikes and their program out there and what's allowed and what's not, and that's great. I have seen some social media activity about kids riding e-bikes through the parks, kind of tearing up the lawn or disrupting events. I'm wondering how much of a problem that really is.
So the park rangers haven't reported any major incidences. They are very difficult to catch and slow them down. The park rangers do have a direct line to the police department. If they feel that something is of great concern, they will reach out to the police department, and the police department does respond very quickly. I wish Victor was here because he just had a meeting with the park rangers, and that was one of the topics on there. But he, based out of that meeting, he did not report back to me any significant issues with e-bikes. Now, in November, I believe, I have a meeting with the Murrieta Creek Regional Trail Committee, and that is made up of representatives from the 4 cities as well as Riverside County. And Sergeant Whitten, who is leading the task force on e-bikes and updating and adding that ordinance, he's going to be giving a presentation to that committee. I'll be able to find additional information out there, and then I will, should the commission wish, I can go back to staff and confirm that when I have meetings with them and they haven't mentioned anything about e-bikes, that is truly the case. And then I can report back out to the commission on any updates with that.
As a neighbor of Cal Oaks Park, who walks there almost every evening, I can tell you that it is every evening being used by a slew of bikers.
Yes.
After they ride down Cal Oaks on one wheel for about a half a mile, they proceed into the park. So I'm sure that that's not helping matters any, on top of maybe not being very safe. So, but again, cat's out of the bag. I don't know how you control this. I know they've got an ordinance now, but you know, it's not like you can catch somebody going 30 miles an hour.
I'm hoping now with kids back in school and with the sports leagues on the fields that the summer activity with e-bikes will find that gets diminished. But I'm happy to take that information and report back out to the commission should you wish.
Okay, that's all I had on item number 3.
Okay. May I call for a motion and a second to adopt the consent calendar?
I make a motion, we adopt the consent calendar.
And I second it.
Got a tap there.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
No. I have motion.
There we go.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Commissioners, please cast your vote. Okay. Man, we're getting
Motion carries unanimously.
We're getting
Okay, discussion. Item 1, the Adopted Trail Program. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. And our office assistant too, Roseanne Otis, and I will be giving the report. I'll do the introduction. We hadn't actually planned who was going to do what just yet, so give us just a minute. So I'll do the intro, and then if you want to talk about the forms. Okay. So good evening, Commissioners. I am still Leah Kolek, Parks and Recreation Manager for the City of Murrieta. And we need your assistance on some language, some ideas to update our Adopted Trail program. And our Adopted Trail program allows for individuals and families, various organizations and businesses to actually take ownership of a trail, whichever one they like, and adopt it for a certain period of time and do litter pickup, minor weed abatement if there's something on the trail, and then report any vandalism or graffiti or maintenance issues directly through our Fix-It app. So the City of Murrieta has had this program for a number of years. We're looking to try and promote it a little bit better and see if we can take some of the maintenance burden off of our maintenance department and again, allow the public to take ownership of certain aspects of the trails. So the City of Murrieta provides the volunteer groups with identification signage that's at the trailhead so that individuals who are actually walking that trail are familiar with who is performing the upkeep and the maintenance of it. So there's some benefit to businesses in getting their name out and nonprofit groups as well. They get signage and trash bags and certain litter removal equipment like the little trash pickers and safety vests. So that's what the city provides them. And in the packet that you received, there are the different information items that go into the submittal that the group or individuals need to complete in order to adopt the trail. So with that, we have some questions for you. We wanted to know what you thought about the language. Did we leave anything out? Does anything need to be changed? The big question is, how should we recognize volunteer groups for their service to the community? Is it a proclamation that the mayor signs that they get? Is it something on social media, an Instagram post or anything like that? And then how should the city provide the volunteer group with additional items to use for cleanup maintenance? Do we let them borrow the equipment for the time allotted? Do they have to check it out once a month or each time prior to when they want to go out? Certain things like that. How do we entrust, the safety vests and the items that we may need to have other groups utilize? Do we buy, 100 trash pickers? Things like that. So those are some of the questions we have. And then I'm going to turn it over to Roseanne, and she's going to walk you through the different forms that we have.
Thank you, Leah. Yes.
Right now, and you maybe said this and I missed it, we've got a program. Mm-hmm. We're trying to re-energize it.
Yes.
If you're going to cover it, fine, but how has it been utilized in the past is, I guess, the question I've got. What's the participation and success been like?
I'm going to have Roseanne cover that.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Great questions.
All right, thank you. So at the moment, we, just to give you a little information, there are 16 trails throughout the city of Murrieta. Many of them are available for adoption. At the moment, we have 2 trails that have been adopted. And one of the trails that I would like to highlight and give you some information on is Las Brisas Trail. So one of the other uses for the Adopt Trail program, other than businesses and organizations, are that high school students can use this time to earn their community service hours. And one student that we have who is in the Adopt Trail program right now, his name is Elijah Richardson. He is a part of the group called Broncos in Action 26. So this is a picture of Elijah with his mother, Mariella, and they go out about once a month, sometimes twice a month for a couple hours, and they pick up litter or report any issues that they may see. And they've been out since January of this year. They took a little break in the summer. Now they're back out there. He was a sophomore last year. Now he's a junior, earning towards his community service hours. He is the second one in his family doing this program. His brother founded Broncos in Action 23 when he was a senior at Vista Murrieta, or a student at Vista Murrieta High School. He has since graduated. So this is the second member in the family who's participating in this program. So this is the kind of thing that we are hoping to see, that more community members or high school students will get involved, that they can be out there, in the fresh air, helping their community, and then also earning their community service hours that are needed to graduate. So when the participants are interested in applying for the Adopt a Trail program, they do need to fill out a volunteer application, and all of these forms can be found on the City of Murrieta website, and they also need to complete a waiver. And one of the requirements is that the participants need to be 12 years and older. Minors do need to be supervised by an adult at least 21 and older. And after the completion of a cleanup, they do fill out an activity report. They send that back in within a couple days, and then that's where they will list who participated, how many hours, and if they encountered any issues that may need to be taken care of by their maintenance or Parks and Rec staff. And some of the items that Leah and I would like direction on is the rules and requirements, and then also the safety requirements, which you have before you.
So, in the past, have companies been involved in this?
Yes, one of the trails, and I'm sorry, I can't remember right off the top of my head, is adopted by Mattress Firm.
Okay.
Can I ask along those lines? I mean, when you see signs on the highway, such and such company is, responsible for this section of the highway. The employees of that company aren't out picking up trash. They make a donation or give money to CalPERS and along those lines, and it's a way of subsidizing that. I would think, maybe some businesses would want to be I saw the signage, that'd be a good thing, good exposure for the business. But Joe's Sandwich Shop is probably pretty busy, and to ask their employees to go out and pick up trash may not work. But if they could make, I'm spitballing here, but if they could just make a donation to the general cleanup fund and have their name up there for X amount of time, it might encourage the business community. I understand the volunteer groups, the high schools, the nonprofits, that's great. And they've got, a lot of people, but, kids working at the sub shop, hey, I need you to go pick up trash on this trail on Tuesday. It might be a way to expand the program and recoup some of the funds that are needed to.
This trail sponsored by.
This trail sponsored by, the mill. I can see Adam out there picking up trash now. But, no, I can't. But actually, you probably would. But it's just as an idea to throw that out for a sponsorship level.
Okay.
Because you'll get some. I noticed there were two trails. One was Broncos, and one was an actual business.
Yes.
Yeah, there were two trails that had a sponsorship already.
Yes.
But it just is a thought to maybe somehow encourage the business community for not a minimal donation, but if they're going to get some exposure, they're going to have hopefully hundreds of people walking that trail every day. So that's one. Number two, there is a sign that goes up that's associated with this too, that the city pays for.
Yes.
Initially, and then when the sign gets vandalized and torn down, or if, then it's up to the volunteer group to replace the sign.
One of the questions we'd like to resolve. If the sign gets vandalized, is it the city that replaces it? Would the burden fall to the cleanup crew, the group, to replace that sign?
Yeah. That's a tough one to ask a volunteer group
Yeah, I know.
to pony up whatever the cost of a sign is.
Right. We lean towards probably replacing it.
Again.
Right, and you can then control how it's done and the professionalism of it and everything
Yes.
else.
Once again,
Exactly.
money collected by a business sponsoring a trail might be used in a fund to replace the signs, which I'm sorry to say some will eventually be victimized and vandalized. So just a thought. But
Well, you and I've had a discussion in the past about kind of like community groups sponsoring a park, that type of thing. And we've talked about the fact that it's a great idea, but you've got to then have staff to manage that and work with it and everything else. Is this, how does that fit in here? Is that a workload that?
Roseanne's knocking it out of the park. She's taken ownership of the program itself and is doing a phenomenal job in reorganizing the forms, getting the updated information on the website. This is one of her projects that I've assigned to her.
Right.
And she's doing a really good job at it.
Okay.
But she's been raising some excellent questions that honestly it would be beneficial to hear outside of our little group, what the commission thinks about the best way to move forward in advertising this program and how best to acknowledge the volunteer groups and so on. We may have certain ideas, but we're always in our silo, and we often need a different way to look at things to re-energize something. And
so this is existing rules and procedures or proposed?
Yes, those are the existing ones.
Okay.
Those are the existing ones.
You could reach out to homeowners associations in the neighborhoods of the trails. They obviously have a vested interest in keeping their neighborhood, clean. Again, the businesses, youth groups, scouts, Little League. I'm just thinking you got to be 12 to be in it. So it looked like a fairly ironclad liability releasing the city of any.
Oh, that is definitely already approved by the city attorney.
Because you never know what you're going to find on the trail.
Yeah.
And you don't want a 14-year-old kid picking up a hypodermic needle.
Yeah. So one of the things I don't think we have like the safety guidelines, like if they run into poison oak or what poison oak looks like or how to avoid that, or if they run into hot weather and they see a snake, or where to put their hand or where not to put their hand. We're looking at maybe possibly putting some safety guidelines along those lines as well. But we would love your input on what else might need be included. Do we recommend certain clothing to wear, hats, sunscreens, things like that? Should we provide that as a packet to a group interested in adopting a trail? So that's the feedback we're kind of looking from the commission tonight.
The equipment right now is being handed to them and they keep it, or is it being checked out?
It's checked out. So the safety vests, they're nothing more than just kind of a plastic vest. We allow them to keep that. We don't necessarily recycle that from group to group. But the trash pickers, I think it's just the trash pickers then.
Yeah, that's all. And then the only other thing we provide are trash bags.
Yeah.
And they come to City Hall to pick that stuff up now?
Well, we have a new office location, so we're debating whether or not the best location to go pick those up.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whether it's more convenient, if it's more convenient at City Hall because that's a more familiar and more accessible location, but then it's the coordination of when they stop by and pick, hours and so on. So that's all comments we want to hear back from the commission.
Now, about the only trail I walk is the Las Brisas Trail, because that's over by my house. And actually, it's been a while. Well, it's been 110 degrees. I haven't walked lately. But there's usually some type of area where you could put signage, or are there, going forward, just those are the people who walk those trails. And if there's some information about how to sign up or how to get your group to sign up.
I see. You're talking like a community board.
A community board, yeah. And just
That's interesting.
Because those are the people who are out there.
I think Las Brisas is already one that's already adopted.
Right, there's already one. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, but there's a community board there too.
Trying to think where on Las Brisas the community board is located.
Or some type of a thing, just so, because those people have a vested interest in the trail, and they're out there going, hey, how come this isn't cleaned up? Well, maybe we can get a group together of neighbors. And
It is definitely one of the more popular trails.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we found in the Trails Master Plan, the mapping of that. That is a highly popular trail.
Right. So it's cool.
It is. Very.
Are they safe, these trails?
Oh, yeah, the ones I walk on are safe. I mean,
I'm sorry, what?
Are they safe? Are they pretty safe?
Oh,
yeah.
I think so. I walk the trails all the time.
Yeah.
My favorite is the Sycamore Ranch Trail, the Bear Valley Trail, Copper Canyon, and Coal Canyon trails. Yeah, I find them safe.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any issues.
Oh, you have? Okay,
No,
good.
in the 35 years that
Yeah.
I've lived there, so.
Yeah.
But
So
just
Should we take
bringing
form by
this
form?
info to the people who are
Okay.
walking that every day.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe hit the middle school population too. You might get some more interest in the high school kids. Got a lot of stuff going on, but middle school kids are generally 12,
And
13, 14.
some of the middle schools, I think, have some service organizations, some individual organizations. I know they do it at the high school level, that this would fit right into their,
Or some type of, maybe
ML.
an environmental
Yeah.
club.
Well, we definitely have an in with the youth center, so we
Yeah.
can definitely reach
Well, that
out.
tackles Chevella for you.
Yeah, that would be Chevelle, but I'm sure we could reach out to the other
Right.
middle schools.
so you would like us to just take the time to maybe review this and get back and shoot it back to you?
Oh, well, we had hoped that you had reviewed the information before tonight, but that's okay. We have uploaded the forms,
Right.
and maybe what we can do is do a review of the forms tonight,
Okay.
and then we can take the next 2 months, and you can digest all of that, review the forms, and we can bring it back for updates at the November meeting.
And you can give us an update of how it's going.
Yes.
Just,
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
be interested.
Okay, so you want to start with the form?
Sure.
That's okay. Yeah, just the ones that you did.
I wasn't able to download all of the meters. I don't know if that was on the forms. Only a couple of them.
So the one form that we know is solid is the waiver. That's already
Right.
been approved by the city attorney. It's just part of the packet that we
Right.
wanted to make sure that you knew that we have a waiver. And you made all of these fillable? Yes. Excellent, thank you.
So the first form that you're seeing is the volunteer application. It's pretty straightforward, just asking for contact information, age if they are a minor, parent, guardian information, emergency contact, and then they can also put which trail they would like to adopt, if they have an organization name, and then propose cleanup schedule. So right now, one of the questions we are proposing to the commission is, in the rules, we do suggest or ask that they clean the trails at least once every 3 months and commit to a year. So is that time frame feasible? Would we like them to come out more often? Is there a certain amount of maybe hours per month, per year that we would like them to do?
I don't think that's asking too much. Once,
Well, we were thinking if they were students, they would take the summer off. So
Right.
2 months to 3 months, they would probably not. And it's obviously very hot during the summer out here. So that's why we were looking at least going out there at least once a month. But should there be a number of hours per year that we request the volunteer group to go out there? And it can be maybe done in any fashion that they would like. We would like them to adopt it for a significant period of time, though, so that they're out there on a regular basis and doing the litter removal and
do
and
we
so
know how
on.
many volunteer hours are required for graduation?
40.
That's 40? Okay. Because that varies from school district to,
Well, my kiddo just started
Yeah.
9th grade, so that's what he has to do.
yeah, okay.
But I needed to ask the counselor if he can start at 9th grade or if he has to start in 10th grade.
Okay.
Not sure if it's, if there's a restriction on 9th graders starting their community service hours. So that's a question I have, but that's just from.
Because I've gone
my
to things
kiddo.
where kids have 1,600 volunteer hours.
Yes.
in their senior
Yes.
year.
You know, to me, it comes down to, you know, if we're expecting their participation and expect to see results, every 90 days seems like an awful long
And that's where we want to get your comments.
Yeah,
We know that summer might be a little difficult.
Right.
Unless they want to get out on the trail really early in the morning or later in the evening.
Right.
But we tend to agree that, if we're asking once every 3 months, that might be kind of a long time before they're out there.
And city staff would still be doing cleanup for the 89 days.
City staff,
Well,
a combination.
or on a regular basis.
Yeah, a combination of city staff and our maintenance contractor.
Yeah, just thinking how much of a difference going once every 3 months is
I
going to
just
make
don't
if
know.
staff is out there. I don't know, maybe,
Does our
60
staff
days.
have an opinion about how effective, I guess in the past, it's been once every 3 months?
It's currently once every 3 months,
And how effective do we feel that has been?
but the two groups that have adopted trails, they're out there more often.
Okay.
so is once a month asking too much? Maybe not.
I tend to side with, once a month, just a couple of hours once a
Right.
month.
Yeah, we're not like asking for a weekend or anything. You're talking about walking the trail for a couple hours and picking some stuff up.
It's
and
not the John
reporting
Muir
back.
And
Trail out there. It's a little
looking
shorter
for
than
any
that.
maintenance repairs
Yeah.
and reporting them.
I like once a month.
I think, actually once a
I
month.
don't think that's too much. And remember, the whole world works through the summer. I mean, it's not the end of the world,
No.
and you go out early. Yeah.
I mean, if you had a group of 4 or 5 people, it's going to take an hour unless, it's in really bad shape. And if it's, you have to report a repair thing that any citizen, if they see a problem in the park, can
To fix
log
it.
into the city and
Okay.
get that taken care of. So
All right.
I don't think asking once a month is, it's what it is. It's once a month.
Is there a minimum number of hours? Should that be, 24 hours a year?
Yeah, I think,
Hard to put a,
hard to quantify that. I mean,
Okay.
you could do it, if you did it once a month, you might.
Just once a month?
Might take an hour.
Yeah.
You get 12 hours in a
Yeah,
year.
depending on the trail that you adopt.
and depending on the condition.
It may only take an hour or
Right.
less to walk that
Yeah.
trail.
but even worst case scenario, the longer trails, I mean, certainly you're talking something you can handle in 2 hours.
Yeah, and the longer trails, of course, we're not going to ask them, some trails are 8 miles long.
Mm-hmm.
We're not necessarily going to ask them to maintain all eight miles.
Right.
We would ask for a certain section, anywhere from maybe a half mile to a mile.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think putting an hour thing on it is going to.
Okay.
It doesn't really accomplish.
Okay.
Do
and
we
then-
have an idea of how much the sign costs?
It's about $50,
Yeah.
maybe a little less.
And it just says this trail sponsored by
Do you want to?
Yeah.
Joe's Tire or whatever.
Do we have that
We do
one?
have a sample.
Yeah, adopt
of-
one. Next 1 mile, okay. So if you've got that 8-mile trail, you can have 8 groups out there. Or- Yeah, put something like that on the.
That's bigger than our coyote signs.
Put something like that up on the community boards or somewhere on, at the beginning of each trailhead, because it's got information on who to call.
You could also incorporate a thank you from council.
That's one of the questions is certainly when the volunteer group has completed their service, just like we retire the active duty military banners and the veterans banners on Facebook and social media, we would like to do the same thing, is retire the sign, and we would hand the group their sign. We don't need that sign again.
Right.
So we could give them their sign and then possibly a proclamation or
At a council meeting or
a
something.
thank you, or a thank you from the mayor of some sort.
Yeah, do it at a council meeting at the very beginning. It's a big deal for,
It's a big deal for
it's a
who?
big deal for people to get a proclamation.
Okay.
I know a lot of us have been through a lot of those ceremonies, but the people who are getting them, getting the recognition, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Do we know if any of the local cities that are neighbors to us have something like this?
Almost every agency that we researched had some sort of adopted trail. And pretty much it was all the same
Very similar.
language, just, shaped a different way. Yeah,
So we're not reinventing the wheel here.
yeah, we're not.
There's no sense.
Okay.
Any other of the forms? Okay. Here's the rules and procedures, okay.
So we would, we would like to have your thoughts on the rules as well. We don't necessarily need to go line by line tonight. If you need additional time to read through this and mark comments, we can bring it back.
I don't know, Commissioners, I had the trouble you had. I couldn't get some things open.
Yeah. I saw these and I went over them real quick, but I didn't give them
Okay.
much more than a passing.
That's okay.
I had the same problem
Yeah.
on my computer.
So,
Yeah, and then there is a printed copy for you.
okay. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind a
So
little
we'll-
more time to take a look at them.
We'll stick a pin in the rules part, if you can review that, and we'll
Okay.
bring it back.
Okay.
And then safety, so yeah, we do
Is
have
something you're hoping to launch soon, next year? Tomorrow?
It's currently in place right now with
Okay.
the existing conditions.
Right.
Existing sign layout. And so we want to, again, I love Vice Chair Parker's re-energizing the
Right.
program. So it's already currently in place. We just want to infuse it with some new blood to get some more individuals to volunteer and adopt some trails.
Good for the community.
Yes, yes. And so we do have a safety requirements page. If you would like to review that and see if we missed anything.
I'm just looking real quick here at line 10. No children under the age of 12, that's fine. But an adult 21 years of age or older must always supervise any volunteer between the ages of 12 and 17. 17, maybe 14.
Okay.
I'm thinking that,
They can be on their own. They don't want their parents.
Dad doesn't want to go out there on a Saturday.
Yeah.
You can send the older brother who's a responsible 17-year-old.
Yeah.
That maybe has more to do with incorporating a minor that's unsupervised
Yeah.
in the program, though.
We can certainly shoot that question to our city attorney if you
Right.
feel, if we want to look at reducing that age.
Just maybe down to 15 or so. I don't know. But you don't want to discourage it. Oh, I got to get Dad and go out here and
Right.
clean up the trail. I'll
There's-
drive, and
Yeah, there's nothing worse than having your parent follow you when you're with your friends.
With your
cleaning up the
buddies and
trail
trying to
and
do a
you
good
want to be
thing.
kids. Yeah.
so maybe
Okay.
take a look at that.
Like a big brother. Okay.
There's a number 7, homemade sign should be removed from all poles, utility cabinets, along with any graffiti where practical. I don't think we're going to be asking kids to remove graffiti or volunteers. That would be more of a
They-
Gary Smith out there.
Yeah, probably the graffiti, we're not going to have the volunteer group be out there.
But
with
report
any- Yeah, but public reporting it
Yeah.
is what we would request. But
Okay.
if they see signs or bills, posts on poles or on fencing or things like that, we would certainly ask them to take that down as part of a litter removal campaign.
Does code enforcement kind of do that in the parks, or does code enforcement not go to the
Not
parks?
so much in the parks.
Okay.
Mostly on private areas and so
Right.
on.
Is there something here that touches on, I mean, we're touching on almost everything. Some things seem like common sense, but on the, paying attention to the heat and getting started early in the morning, something like that. It seems like that would be common sense, but a lot of this does. Something we might want to throw in there.
Okay.
You mean for the summer?
Yeah, for the summer.
Okay, we're talking on number 8 about picking up hazardous materials, okay, car batteries. It says animal carcasses there. Do we need to call the city of Murrieta to pick up an animal carcass?
We often remove animal carcasses from especially very trafficked trails.
Okay.
And if it's a bird, we have to report that.
Really? Okay.
For West Nile virus and things like that, crows and so on. So those
You call animal friends of the valley or to do that? Or?
No, we would probably just have our maintenance crews go
Okay,
out there and do it. The birds, however, need to be reported.
They could have diseases.
Pardon me?
They could have diseases.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. So we don't want anybody picking that up.
Yeah,
They just
I would
report it,
want-
they would report it through the Fix-It app and say, we came across this animal carcass on this trail.
Yeah.
And it needs to be removed from the trail.
Number 9, horseplay of any kind is strictly forbidden?
Yeah.
What a quaint term.
They're,
My father would like that.
Common sense.
Yeah, yeah.
It does seem, I don't think. Yeah,
so we
that's
don't
not a
want them,
common-
playing Jedi with the.
Oh, yeah.
The,
I understand, but maybe there's a better word than horseplay
I see where you're going.
for
Shenanigans?
kids in 2024. Don't screw around. I mean, something like that. Maybe there's a better way to word it. I'm thinking my 17-year-old grandson wouldn't know what horseplay is. He would think it's some type of video game.
We can look into
Not
a synonym for horse.
excessive
Yeah,
horseplay.
yeah. No screwing around. Don't mess around.
Okay. So we'll kind of
Yes, review
this at the next
them, review these
Okay.
forms and the information on the details, and come back with comments.
And then this last form that I pulled up, this is the activity reporting form. This is the form that they complete once they've gone out to a trail and submit. So it has their information, the cleanup date, the number of volunteers, if they identified any concerns that need to be taken care of.
Was there a safety briefing conducted prior to cleanup?
Yes.
I mean, who's doing safety briefings? Every time somebody goes out, there has to be a safety briefing?
I think it's just prior to their first cleanup.
Okay.
So we'll review the safety form with them.
Right.
And make sure they understand what the word horseplay means.
Yes, a definition.
Very important.
The Navy, we call that skylarking. You can throw that in.
Whoa, I don't know if I've heard that one.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I've not heard that one.
That was skylarking.
Yeah, I've never heard that one.
Oftentimes, if they are high school students needing community service hours, they will have their own form that the school requires
Right.
that the city staff needs to fill out as well.
Rough housing.
Is there anything at the bottom of this under 10?
Oh, sorry. No.
Okay.
So we want to make it, we want to try and capture some analytics with this as
Right.
well, so that we can compile the information in a yearly report as well. But we don't want to make the reporting form so burdensome that they don't want to fill it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we want to find out, how many number of bags were filled, how many volunteers were out there, and how often did they go out, and how many hours. So we want to try and capture that and create a report for commission at the end of the year.
Since there's I wouldn't imagine there's any scheduling for these groups to go out that's coordinated by the city. When they get filled bags of trash, what do they do with them?
So there are, you want to take it, or you want me to answer? Oh, okay. So there are, prior to the trail that they adopt, we will designate a certain location where they will leave the trash bags, and then our maintenance crew will come by and
Okay.
pick them up. That, or if it's at a location that has a trash bin that's accessible, we'll just ask them to put it in the trash bin.
Okay.
Are there any more forms? That's it. So that in a nutshell is this program. We would love to have your comments back. We'll bring it back at the next meeting. But if you could, I know that there was a discussion and to direct staff on any rule changes. Would you care to make a motion to say that we will bring this item back so it's official, that it goes on the agenda next time?
Do I hear that motion?
I make a motion, we bring this item back for an update at our next meeting.
And I second the motion.
Yep,
Can I
let me
hit
do
the
that.
button? I get it. There it is. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll do a vote. Okay, and then you'll vote on the,
Okay, then we'll vote on it.
yes.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, motion carries unanimously.
Okay. Madam Secretary, are there any public comments on this item?
Thank you, Vice Chair. There are no public comments.
So this is a receive and file, and we'll move on to commission member announcements. Commission member announcements is an opportunity for commissioners to provide miscellaneous reports and announcements. Commissioners, are there any announcements?
Yes, I'll bring something, if I could, to the attention of the committee and staff, the commission and staff. I noticed that our naming parks and recreation facilities update was approved by the city council on August 20th, which I feel great about. I'm a little concerned that this commission was not notified that it was coming before the city council on August 20th.
I did send an email out.
I didn't get one. I just got a note from Chris. He didn't get one. Paul doesn't remember
I
getting it.
don't remember.
I don't remember getting one. Maybe I did.
I did send an email out letting commission know that the original date in July wasn't going to be available, and that I had moved.
I did get that, but I didn't get a notification that, and Chris is apparently, I asked Chris earlier, just if he'd gotten a notification that this was going to be on the agenda on August 20th, because I think we would have liked to have, I know it was a consent out calendar item, we could still pull it, and I wanted to give the council some insight as to what the process was we went through.
Yes.
And I haven't seen the minutes of the video of that meeting to go any further, how much that was discussed, but
I did send out an email saying that it wasn't going to make the original
right.
date, and that it would be moved to the next available agenda date, which I believed at the time on the email was going to be August 20th.
That doesn't ring.
I will pull up that email.
Oh, that's fine, but I said, I was in Alaska the week before, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe I got lost, and there wasn't a whole lot
or
of.
maybe it was one I couldn't open up.
I couldn't open, but yeah, so I would have, I just bring that to the commission's attention if an email went out. I remember the one saying it wasn't going to come on, and maybe I missed the tail end of that, but notification a week ahead of time would have been, I think, appropriate to the members of the committee, so we could have been here. That's all I had. Like I said, I'm very happy that they adopted the ordinance or the change, which was a minor change, but potentially significant.
It was, especially since we already had two parks named after individuals that provided significant benefit to the city, Hunt Park and Sykes Ranch Park. They're
Right.
both named after individuals that had provided a significant benefit to the city. So it was good that we adjusted that language so it was in line with the two parks that were already named after somebody.
But as we discussed before, I don't think 90% of the people in Murrieta would know who George Walker, John McElroy, or Tex McAllister are.
Probably.
And if they didn't do what we did, we'd be sitting at Temecula City Hall right now.
Yep.
Having this meeting.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons that we kind of reworked the verbiage in that to potentially down the road make sure that the founders and the founding committee who incorporated the city of Murrieta when Temecula was ready to take it over, is duly recognized. So that's what I would have told the city council. So that's what I'm telling them now.
Well, it was a consent item. It didn't get pulled.
Right.
So there was no discussion on it.
Okay. Like I said, it's a minor change, but it's significant, I think.
Yes, it
going
is.
forward.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Whether it's appropriate or not, I do want to mention that our good friend and Commissioner Chairman Colopy has had an accident, and just kind of keep him in our thoughts, because I think he's got a bit of a road here ahead of him. And with that, this meeting is now adjourned.
Do we want to discuss future agenda items?
Oh, here we go.
Roseanne, I can't find that note on mine. Yeah, I can come. Get it.
I didn't know that was going to be on
Yeah. Well, it appears that the items, potential upcoming agenda items, appear to be just items that would be normally on the agenda, correct? I think part of the discussion, and Commissioner Chair Colopy was kind of the impetus for this, was that we only meet every 2 months, and sometimes stuff comes up in the interim that we would like to discuss as a commission, and we seem to be having not difficulty, but it seemed to be hard to get on the agenda for the upcoming meeting, even if it was a month. Our meeting wasn't until a month later.
Yeah.
And I know this was a particular peeve of his, but
So I guess the question would be, Leah, is if in our thoughts, we know there's a meeting coming up in 3 weeks, and one or all of us have an idea of something we need to slot in that we have an interest in for that meeting, can we do that, and what would be a drop dead date prior to that meeting? That might be the right way to ask the question.
So I did take that question to the city clerk, and the direction was to base it off of the current process that the city council does. So you would think in advance of the meeting, if there's any items that you would like to include on a future agenda, and then at that time you would gain consensus from the board as to whether or not that item gets placed on a future agenda. So that's why that the agenda has been updated with the discussion item of adding items to a future agenda. So what Roseanne and I have done is we have some updates that we want to include, but there's a number of not so much projects, but items that we want to discuss with the commission, and we've kind of estimated the months at which we might be discussing that. Right. So like the joint use agreement, that's going to require an update to the joint use agreement with the Murrieta Valley Unified School District. That's going to take a good discussion, maybe 2 discussions with the commission. We want to do a field closure policy. We've had, with the recent fires so close to Los Alamos Hills Sports Park, that required closing the field. So we want to, in addition to our current closing a field for weather conditions, we want to add not just rain, but fog or smoke or fire, viruses, like we had to close the fields before. We want to compile a robust policy for that. So that's what we're looking at, is ideas that the commission would like to see on a future agenda, discussion items or updates. Do you want updates on certain events? Do you want, we regularly have all of our recreation coordinators come in. So Michelle would give an update on recreation classes and how those are going. Recreation Supervisor Laura Frasa would give an update on the special events that are coming, and if you had questions on that. So we regularly try to bring in staff at least once a year, so they can provide commission with an update regarding those particular programs that we offer. It could have changed within that 12, 18 months. We would bring our management trainee, Lindsay Sisti, in for updates on homeless and see what changes are taking place with the Regional Homeless Alliance, things like that. So this is the direction, the process that the city clerk would like us to follow, which is the exact same process that the city council goes through. So we would request that if you have an idea for an agenda topic that you would like, is it, you can bring, it could be one, none, or 10. You can bring them all up at this portion of the agenda and gain consensus for one or all.
To be placed on a future.
To be placed on a future.
Okay.
Now, if there's a specific meeting date that you would like an item to come forward, Roseanne and I would probably discuss, well, this is what we have so far planned, and whether or not that fits, lengthwise, meeting lengthwise, if it fits with that, or if we can move things around. So we would value your input on that.
Okay.
I'm also thinking about it, and it hasn't happened and not likely to, but at a meeting like this, but if we had a number of people from the public who had an issue and showed up, not just the pickleball people, but some other people from the public, had a Parks and Rec issue that was important to them, and they spoke at the meeting, that we could ask on our next agenda to schedule a discussion. Mm-hmm. And this would be the time to say we want to discuss at our November meeting, whenever XYZ, an issue that the people have, and that this would be the time to. At this point, this would be the time to do it at the end of our meeting, like we're doing now. Just saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So according to city, there is no, and I don't really have an example of why we would need to do this, but there's no, this is the methodology,
Yes.
and there is no exception to this methodology.
To be as transparent as possible, so that commissioners by accident are deciding agenda items by email. We want to avoid that, and this is the transparent process to do that.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
think about it. We do have, for example, there's some items in the agenda, which I didn't realize you had put them in the agenda. I thought it was a separate sheet. But we have probably about 15 items that we have an idea that will be coming before the commission between now and March. So good updates, good discussions, policy, updates for MOUs, things like that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it is what it is, but it's also, I understand the fairness that's involved and everything else. Okay. Anything else, commissioners?
We definitely want to put you to work.
Okay.
So we want to use your skills and abilities to as best we can. So again, we're in an office knowing what needs to be approved and updated and so on. But we only see what's within our four walls. There are things out there that you want to discuss, and we're here to provide that information to you.
Quick question, completely unrelated. Are we using the city using the space across the street now?
Yes.
The administrator?
That's where our home is.
Is that where your home is now?
That's where our
That's
home
where we
is.
find you?
That's
I
where
probably
you find
shouldn't
us.
have said that. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
And
good.
many people have already found us. It didn't take long.
Okay, well, good.
Okay.
That's good. You've outgrown the city. Jim Holson said we're going to outgrow this building in
Yes,
5 or 10 years.
yes, he did, yeah.
And he was right about that.
Yep. So that's where we're at. If you need to find us, it's on my emails. You'll see my updated address on it.
Oh, I know where you're at.
I know you do.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. There's nothing else. We'll call this meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.